Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. And before I start conversation with my guest, who joined me actually today for the third time, it's a good number too. I want to explain to some of the new followers what my channel is about, because I know it might be a little bit confusing. Tomaz already knows. So I have conversations with high energy people, that's how I come across them, who have a knowledge in certain areas, life experience, soul journeys, and I have conversations with those people. This can be about finances, spirituality, different topics that are, the knowledge about them is to help you through this time we are in. And I also have travel videos / vlogs that you'll see pretty much every weekend now. This is my big passion. I love doing this and share with the audience. So I hope this doesn't confuse you and you will be with me on this journey. I also have an Instagram, which I very much care about, and Tomaz knows, because I love my Instagram, where I show people places in the world, certain areas, and that is down below as well. And I also have the mailing list, which I always appreciate if you join me. So with all of this being said, I want to welcome back Tomaz Mueller.
Thank you so much, Anya.
Welcome back, Tomaz. And Tomaz is Ayurvedic practitioner, healer, and very old soul who've experienced a lot and is aware of those experiences and wants to share it with the audience. Tomaz also has a great Instagram account, so you can check it down below, and a practice. So if you're interested in Tomaz's work, I will attach all the links down below, and you can have a session with him, you can contact him and decide what is the best remedy approach to help you in your journey right now. So Tomaz, I was thinking what we start this conversation with today. And the first question that came to me, it's a little bit different that you might expect actually, but I wanted to ask you, since you know I visited UK, and I'm so glad I did, because it just gave me a lot of confidence and trust in the universe and my higher self, that against all odds I was able to do it without any other extra experiences required. So how do you see the future of England, of United Kingdom overall? Because you lived there for quite a long time.
First of all, Anya, thank you so much again to have me on. I think it's a great pleasure, and I can totally resonate when you say it's like we have got this very strong connection. There are times when we communicate, but I love watching your Instagram posts on the travels, because especially for me, I haven't been traveling since 2 years. I haven't even been to Germany to see my mom. But again, before I start, thank you so much. And yeah, we just have to keep going. With regards to the UK, I'm just sort of listening to my gut feeling. The first thing that comes through is that I can feel the energy within the UK is extremely dense. I think it's very, what we would call probably still very 3D-like. And I can say that because I live in the country now. I have moved out of London. When I was in London, I saw all the activities that were going on in the streets, all the people marching for freedom and everything. But then coming to the countryside and living in a small town and actually traveling around, I can see, I can feel people are completely buying into the 3D mentality, the 3D agenda. And this starts from wearing the cover to the fear that actually is still percolating around. So laying the foundation with that is, I feel the UK is going to have quite a bit of a rough time, to really shake up and to be woken up. And there will be a lot of resistance. And there is still a lot of resistance for people, even though it's in plain sight. You can see it right in front of their eyes. But the narrative has been set so beautifully, in quotation mark, they're completely brainwashed. I can say this because I'm very much in touch with my family in Germany. And so much is happening there. And I think people are really, really, even in small villages, in small towns, starting to come together and really telling their own stories and telling that they do not no longer subscribe to the narrative that is going on. And I think, here we go, this is now coming back to your question, because Germany has gone through division. We have had East Germany, we have had West Germany. We have gone through 2 world wars. The signs of fascism and communism are completely, people are much more aware. Whereas the UK has, and please, I am a British citizen, I've got dual citizenship. They are very much still in the kingdom of the United Kingdom of this country, which means there is an element of, I'm putting myself onto thin ice here, of superiority. Oh, we know it better. And we just gonna lead, and we're gonna show the world what actually is happening. But we all know, Anya, you know, me know, that it's just a facade in the front to support the people with the narrative, so the people can stick to the narrative, buy into the fear. I have had a family, my partner's mom, visiting here over Christmas. Just to give you an example, she cannot stand still without listening to the radio. She needs to listen to the radio. And I initially thought this is just one person, but the more I speak to the older generation, the more I speak to friends within the UK, their families are very much the same. BBC, whatever is being broadcast, this is the news. So to a long-winded answer to your question, I think we're going to have a rough time here to really wake up to the reality. There is a lot of light, a lot of beautiful energies within this country. There are all these traditions, the Celtic traditions, and I don't know much about it at all. I just go with the feel of it. And especially living now here surrounded by green, surrounded by the water, it's just so beautiful. And so it's like the opposite of the two. So on one side, extreme darkness or ignorance or whatever you want to call it, just being clouded, overshadowed. And on the other side, people who are awake are really, really tapping into the heritage of the country, which goes back generations, decades, centuries of having people that were awake and that were alert and that stood up for their truth. I don't know, does that make sense, Anya?
Yes, yes, and actually not surprising at all when you said the comparison between London and the smaller towns, like in the countryside. And you know what's great? I can actually speak to it as well from my experience that I had in December. I've noticed the same, Tomaz. And in London, yes, okay, there is a percentage of people you see, of course, but overall is was different for me, right? To experience, I'm talking about the clothing things, right?
Yes.
Wearing the muzzle.
Yes.
But when I went to Cotswolds, and I was like, what's happening here? Like, why are they doing this when all you need to do is to say, I am exempt? That's what I was doing. I was just saying, I am exempt. I didn't have to show anything.
Yes.
I didn't have to have any form of document. It was really just communicating and expressing that. That was the only thing you needed to do in order not to wear it.
Yeah.
And I had the same reflection when I was watching this. I was like, wow, the smaller towns are actually
Totally shut down, and even more so closed off. I think that's the biggest thing that I can say. And yeah, I mean, let's see what happens. It's exciting. I think it's very exciting, as we all know. If we step out of the 3D density and we look at the bigger picture, yes, we are part of it. And you know what came to me many years ago, I think it must be 1990 or something around this time, I was traveling in the UK for a business project at the time. And I so happened to visit a clairvoyant. I remember it was an old man. It was in one of the industrial villages in the country. I have no clue where it was anymore. And I sat in his living room, a very sort of grumpy old man with a fireplace and like typical miner kind of village in the mining area. And he said to me, you are gonna go and you're gonna, he mentioned that I was basically traveling the world and I live in a far away country. And at that time I was living in New Zealand, Australia. But he said, you will come back to the UK. And even at that time already, he said, for some reason, I can see you working with the establishment, working with the HRHs, and I had no clue. And he said, it is there to bring your energy. He used the term energy and your, I can't remember what it was. He didn't say frequency. He bring in your gift to help lighting up. And please, I'm just very humble here. We all have got our role to play, but it just came back to me to help with the collective of the country, to help raise the awareness of the country. And it was only when I already was in the UK 5 or 6 years, I was already here, when I remembered that incident with that man in one of the minor villages somewhere remote within the UK. So
this is so great, Thomas. This is because I honestly could see that, like, you are shining like the laser light on a very dense structure, and it loosens up.
yeah.
Wow. But you know, and again, like, it just came to me now too. This is how I recently feel about me moving back to Europe, at least for some time. This is how I feel about US. I feel like my mission there, and it's actually next month, 17 years for me of living in US, all around. I had like 1 year break, a little bit more than that, but I've lived in all different areas in US. So I've experienced, you know, this like a movie trailer thing, United States, right? But with all of this being said, I feel that one of my purposes throughout all this time, besides my own journey, was to bring the light to that land and be part of something that actually maybe not started there, but was really activated there. And with this, I feel I don't know if you have the same feeling that when I was in UK, I felt, excuse me, that the shift will not necessarily be gradual there. I feel the shift will be like flipped in a good way, I mean.
Yes. I think that's I can resonate with that, because the energy, it's almost like the rest of the world in many countries, not all of the countries, but the rest of the world, the collective has risen so strongly, the energy has risen so strongly, the frequency has risen so strongly. It's like there's just 1 second and then the water starts to boil. And that's what you describe as the flipping point. I think you are right. I can feel this is actually what is going on. And this is why I'm saying is it's going to be very rough, because if it is from black to white and from white to black, it doesn't matter which way, because we know both of them are just part of the same coin. It is a shock to the system, or it can be a shock to the system. But I think this wake up, this shaking is actually required.
Yes. So Tomaz, this takes me to my next question. And on your Instagram, some time ago, you did this very cool series of explaining the numbers to people.
Yes.
And now we have 2022, it comes to 6. What is your definition, or how would you describe this number overall?
Okay. So if you go by the numbers, so like you say, 2022, just by the year, the way of how I read it, and this is based on Vedic numerology, and I'm aware that there are different types of numerologies around. I'm not saying, again, one is better than the other. I can only share it from my perspective. So the energy of number 6 is very interesting. It's the energy of what we call in Vedic astrology Shukra, or Venus. The energy of beauty, the energy of celebration, the energy of glitter and glamour, in quotation mark. It's the energy of love, the energy of relationships, partnerships, anything that to do which brings us back again to joy and pleasure, because we have been deprived so much of those energies in the last couple of years, and purely looking at that from the perspective as the number 6, as the energy of Venus or Shukra, which is all about also fertility. It's like fertile growth. Fertility is also a very, very big component of it. So fertile growth and expansion, in a way, really, that's what I feel. I can get the sense that it is a bit of a slow start to the year. So we had a private conversation beforehand, but I feel generally February, the end of February, March, I can sense it goes faster and faster, where we start to really feel that energy of celebration, of pleasures. You know, there's nothing wrong with experiencing pleasure in life, because that's what gives us satisfaction. The danger is if we get lost in it. But it's totally the opposite of what we have had in the past, which was the energy of, I would describe as Shani or Saturn, which is very harsh. It's like long-winded roads. We don't know where we are going, you know? So we're coming out of that in general in the last few years and moving into 2022, which really brings it. And this is another lesson for us to learn, because it is all about sensory pleasures, sensory enjoyments. Important not to get lost in it, to tap into the experience without being addicted to the experience, without losing ourself, our higher connection within that experience. So it could be related to relationships, partnerships.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like escaping from the limited structure into, oh, we have some freedom there, so we're gonna go, and now we just stay there to the point of abusing that.
Exactly. And that's the lesson that it could be there for us to learn, to just stay centered, stay in our core, experience it, and then pull back. It could be a very simple analogy that comes to my mind here is, it might be a time where we get the chance to detox, we get the chance to cleanse our physical being, but not being too harsh on ourselves, not being too hard on ourselves. So if we feel like we really crave something that we would normally not have, just go for it, but don't feel guilty. It's about feeling guilty of enjoyment that actually is much more dangerous than restraining yourself and just living the healthiest lifestyle you can imagine. Because that will cause tension, that will cause stress. And as we know, stress, tension, everything has an impact on our being. In particular, if I look at it from an Ayurvedic perspective, because Ayurveda very much understands health and well-being by focusing on proper digestion, proper metabolic activity. So it is about not just digesting the food, but just digesting our emotions, digesting our sensory experiences. So coming back to 2022, the sensory pleasures are fine, but not so much overstimulation. Actually, there's a concept in Ayurveda, I'm just going to briefly share that, which says that one of the main causes of a disease is either overuse, underuse, or your wrong use of one of the 5 senses. So sensory overload, maybe not using any sense at all, or wrong use of the senses, leads to dis-ease. So this means overindulgence for a long period of time. That could be visually through, let's say, watching violent movies, audibly, just exposing ourselves to very destructive noises and sounds, and also, of course, internally through the sense of taste.
This is incredible what you're saying, because I am an example of so many of those things in my life. And the digestion.
Which ways, Anya?
Well, you know, it's interesting because the digestion part, and I've mentioned this, especially, I don't know, on Instagram. I used to do those like spontaneous lives when I was just, I didn't post them, but I was just connecting with my soul family there. And I was saying that, you know, in Europe overall, the food is much more healthy than in United States. So even if I try to eat healthy there, I have problem, you know, you get bloated and you're very low energy, and it's your second brain, your solar plexus, all this area, it affects your thinking and just brings your energy down, and it's moodiness and frustrations and all those emotions that are actually coming from the heavy digestion that you cannot process this food. But then here now in Poland, I've realized that this is like, it's more to it, because what I've noticed here, the food is better and I eat better. However, I was still experiencing to some extent that problem. And I've realized that there are a few components to this. So the movement, there, like for me, walking is one of the best way to, like, you have to put any machine, any energy into motion. You have to, it's almost like you have to force it a bit, because sometimes you don't feel like doing this, and then it really gets stuck. And then you go on computer and you go on iPhone, whatever it is, and then you listen to videos, you watch this, you watch that, and then a few hours later you're like, I'm tired.
Yes.
So but on a different thing now, I want to say this because again it came to me. You said 2022 will be, it's like a slow start and then it's gonna pick up and there is like happening. So that right away came to me, Tomaz. I saw tiger because this is the year of tiger, right? We're entering.
Yes.
And that's how tiger is. The tiger is
Yes.
like that, and it's like preparing. It's very like lazy, slow motion, but then when it takes off, it like really takes off.
Yes. 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 That makes sense.
So talking about food, I would like to ask you, since you do have a lot of knowledge in this, about the, let's say, I was thinking like, what's the number? Let's say around 5 key herbs that we need to have in the kitchen and have access to it. What would you say are those most important ones, and what is their purpose for our well-being?
Okay, cool. I love talking about herbs. I guess when you say herbs, we can talk about spices. So there's spices, because I remember my grandmother, she used to have this big cupboard in the kitchen where she had all her spices, and whenever we needed something, we mix bits and pieces up. So the kitchen, our spices in the kitchen are basically, okay, let's rewind briefly. You can figure out the state of health and well-being when you go in and explore the kitchen of a person. So in fact, when I work with patients, sometimes they invite me to just help them reorganize their kitchen cupboards. And the spices you have is like the notes on a piano. The more spices you have, the broader the spectrum, the broader your vocabulary will be to play a beautiful piece of music. So let's start there. So because you have been following me on Instagram, you probably have had a view of the kitchen with all the spices up there.
I absolutely adore that kitchen.
It's amazing. It's really, when you come, of course, you will visit. So
love that kitchen. Everyone check the kitchen, please check the kitchen, because this is like downtown Abbey kitchen.
I'm so grateful for this space, because and there's so much now that comes to my mind. I haven't forgotten your question. Let me just rewind a little bit. When we are living in a city, in an urban environment, we are so easily drawn to just go out, have a bite to eat here, have a bite to eat there. I'm living in the middle of nowhere. I can't go anywhere. I have to start planning, and I have to do my shopping. And basically, I have to think of, what do I need for at least 4 or 5 days, so I don't need to leave my home or leave the land that I'm on. So what I was going to say is, since I have moved, I'm so much more inspired to play in the kitchen. And everybody should use the kitchen as a playground. Do not be scared to use spices. Now, the first spice, of course, that comes to my mind is ginger. Ginger is an amazing anti-inflammatory, an anti-analgesic, which basically means it helps with pain, reduces pain. Of course, it is highly detoxifying. So, which basically means is it improves your digestion. It improves your absorption. So there is a difference between digestion and absorption. So we may have a fairly okay digestion. People think, oh yeah, I can go to the loo once a day, comfortably, there's no problem with that. But it doesn't mean that your absorption is all right. So once the food leaves the stomach and gets into the small intestine and is then back reabsorbed into the bloodstream and feeds the tissues, that's the question. How do we help absorbing the nutrients that we eat from the best food? So ginger is number one when it comes to that. And maybe what we will do is I will just talk through the herbs, and then I can give some suggestions of how to prepare
Please.
some of the
Yes.
remedies at
Yes.
home.
Tomaz, can I ask you about ginger one more thing?
Yes.
Is this also, I always thought that ginger also has the very strong, like it's used for immune system to give you,
Absolutely.
yeah, like when you're catching the cold, this is actually good to have. So to
Absolutely.
build up your immune system, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So ginger is very important to build up immune system. And how does it do it? Because it strengthens your digestion. When your digestion is strong, the body can get rid of waste material, unwanted waste or toxins in the body. So because it detoxifies, it doesn't put pressure on the immune system. So it enhances your immunoactivity. Correct. Then, of course, number two is turmeric. And you can get turmeric. Oh, 1 second. Rewind back with ginger. You can take it as fresh or powdered. So it depends on the quality of ginger, and even organic ginger from different countries is very different. So my experience is, if you are naturally more a fire personality, more heat, where you have the tendency, let's say from an Ayurvedic perspective, for skin conditions, maybe acidity, acid reflux, or anything to do with inflammation in general, it is when you're more a Pitta personality, please, it is best to use fresh ginger rather than the dry ginger. Because
okay, so this is for me. This is for me. So do I boil it like in the water and make like a tea from this, or?
Yes, because you have got a very strong Vata constitution as well. Vata, which is the principle of space and air. So it's very good to just put a few slices in water and just add hot water and have it as a tea. And I mean, there's so many ways of how you can take it. I think I've got a few ways on my Instagram account, but briefly what you can also do is you can grate the fresh ginger and then you squeeze the juice out of it. You dilute it with a little bit of water, add a pinch of salt, pinch of black pepper, and a little bit honey. Mix that and have a teaspoon of this to strengthen your immune system, to strengthen your digestion before meals, about half an hour, 15 minutes before meals.
Okay, can I mix it with lemon, Tomaz?
Yes, you can. Add a little bit of lime juice or lemon juice with it. Perfect, yes.
Okay, perfect. So we have ginger.
And then we go on to turmeric.
Turmeric.
So turmeric comes again in powdered form and as a fresh root. Now, I'm assuming that a lot of your viewers probably are familiar with turmeric, but I just like to repeat it. It's quite funny because the Food and Drug Administration tried to patent turmeric a couple of years ago as a medicine. So that shows how powerful turmeric is. Of course, it can't be patented because it's a spice that has been used in so many cultures across the globe for so many decades and centuries. So turmeric important is you need to take it in such a form that the body is able to utilize these chemical compounds much more easily and effectively. So its bioconstituents have to be absorbed easy. So it's not enough to just take a teaspoon of turmeric and take it as such, or put turmeric in a capsule and have it as that. What you need is, you need to use the turmeric, you boil it either in water with a little bit of black pepper, because it's the piperine in black pepper that activates the curcumin in the turmeric, which has all the benefits. Again, It is very good for immune system, respiratory conditions, fungus, parasites. So again, and add a little bit of oil to it. So it needs some oil and the black pepper to activate the ingredient, because I think it's about 800 times stronger if you take turmeric in that form, rather than just taking it in a capsule, pure turmeric as such. So please check that it has got piperine in it. I use it in cooking. So when I cook, for example, grains or even my vegetables, when I steam the vegetables, I put turmeric in it, some cracked pepper, and a little bit of oil. So the heat will help to release the chemical compounds which have the beneficial effects.
Okay, so this takes me to this question. When you buy turmeric powdered, like in the stores, and then you make a salad and you just put it over the salad, there is no temperature there. So is this still effective? Does it do anything?
You need a lot of quantity to take it like that. So you use it in your cooking, you use it in that form. You have to, I mean, it's not that you don't have a benefit. Let me correct myself. But it's like you need to take quite a lot of turmeric to actually get the same benefit.
Okay, you see, I didn't know it. This is something new to learn. Okay, so we have ginger, turmeric. What else, Tomaz?
I would say cumin would be the next. Cumin is a very good spice, in particular black cumin. Black cumin seeds are an excellent expectorant, which basically means it helps you, well, it is very good for the lungs. It is very good for breathing. And also, of course, cumin soothes your digestion. So if you have any cabbages, if you use even cauliflower, or to a certain extent, even broccoli, and if you use lentils and dals, for example, they can be very bloating and gas forming. So cumin soothes your digestion.
Okay.
And then the next one would be fennel, for sure, in the same category. Again, fennel is a culminative. So having fennel tea will be very beneficial if you have an upset tummy, if you feel you're feeling a little bit nauseous, for example. That's why fennel tea is given to children when mothers breastfeed, for example, or in general to young children, because it calms down the digestive system using fennel. And you can combine fennel and cumin. Of course, you can combine it. You can crush the two in a pestle and mortar, and then add a little bit of hot water to it. Let it sit for 2 to 3 minutes, and use that as a pre-digestive tea, or even after you have eaten a heavy meal, for example. And number 5, there are many, but what came to my mind is saffron. Because saffron is a very good, again, antioxidant, but saffron is also good to soothe your nervous system.
Oh, okay. I need a lot of this one. I need a lot of this one.
And you can use it in baking, or again, you can mix it. Actually, I think, please, to anybody who views this, make an effort to go to my Instagram account. There's a brilliant drink, which is actually what I call the magical recovery drink. And there's saffron in it, and there are all the different spices in it. Have a look at that and how to prepare it. The recipe is in the post. So it combines all the spices. It's like a total immune boost. It's like basically having an injection to boost your energy, to clear your toxins from your body, and to strengthen your immunity. And saffron is an important part of that drink. You have to be careful. Some of the spices have more volatile oils. That means they can withstand heat much better than others, because saffron is like a delicate flower, the stems of the flower. So that's why it goes into the drink at the end, and you can prepare yourself even a saffron milk before you go to bed to help calm down the nervous system.
You taught me a lot of new things today, I have to
One more
tell
thing
you.
with saffron, it is also a very good aphrodisiac. So if it's needed, it's a very good aphrodisiac. It's a rejuvenative. In Ayurveda, we call it rasayana.
I think you froze, Thomas. Oh, you're back. Okay,
I'm back.
Heard you. I heard everything, but you just froze after the aphrodisiac. You froze.
Okay. So these are my favorite parts. Interesting.
Yes. Thank you so much for this. And my last topic is, and that's why everyone, I want to show you this. I'm wearing this amber. This is Polish amber. All the way from northern Poland is this place called Gdańsk, from Baltic coast. And actually, with this, I want to say that those of you who are interested, because since I'm in Poland, I know people on my Instagram like, oh, I love this. So I have actually few of those and other pieces of amber. So if anyone is interested in amber, let me know so I can actually sell it to you, send it to you. Doesn't matter where you live. I mean, it's not like a free gift, but I just tell you, Thomas, that I grew up in Poland and I never had so much appreciation for this stone as I have right now. There are so many colors, and there is green amber, there's like yellowish, milkish amber. Is this amber like a color of amber, right?
Yes.
There is brown, and there are some that have actually like the incense that are in the stone because it's from the tree. It's like the juice of the tree.
The resin of the tree, yes.
Exactly, and for like millions of years, it was in the water, and it's just incredible. So my last topic that I want to talk to you about is about the stones, the power of stones, and what do they do? Like, actually, amber helps with thyroid problems.
Yes. So, okay. So amber also is very much linked to your power center. It will help you to really step into your power. That's the color, and the shades of the amber depends on if it is more yellowish, it will be more like the core center. But if it goes into the darker color, the red color, for example, it is much more grounding, much more the root energy. So because you are wearing that, which is, from what I can see, a bit more reddish, it will support your thyroid function. So yes, so it will, especially if the thyroid can be a bit more sluggish, that can help to boost thyroid activity. But of course, this is not, and I really like for Anya's protection and also for my protection, we are not giving any medical advice here. So if there are any medical conditions, you are to go and use a professional advice. But in general, it supports thyroid function. Amber supports digestion, the way I see it. Energetically, it gets you into your core center. It really, depending on the more yellowish it is, the more it is exuberating with standing in your truth, standing in your power, at the same time be very grounded.
Can I just jump in for a moment, Thomas, with the yellow that you said? You know, when I was in Warsaw and my last trip to Poland, I purchased this like elastic yellow amber bracelet. I don't have it next to me, but I have with me. And the lady who was selling this to me, she was explaining that the yellow amber is actually the oldest type of amber. And if I remember correctly, she said something around 4 million years. So now when you're saying, going back to the truth, to the core, I'm thinking, wow, like you said, yellow. So this will actually make sense even time-wise, right?
Yes, yes. Another good stone for thyroid, I'm just going to pick it up again, and you probably have seen it. I
Okay.
think I showed it before,
Okay.
but I'm surrounded by lapis lazuli.
Oh, wow. Oh, what a color this one has.
So that's also very good for
Oh
thyroid.
my
Actually,
goodness.
you can see it has got the shape of the book.
Yes.
So I use it if I want to tap into Akashic records, because it's also very much about third eye. So talking about lapis lazuli, very good for
Wow.
growth, very good for communication.
And when you sit under your pyramid, Thomas, do you put any stones on the pyramid or you don't?
I've got the capstones, but I'm surrounded by crystals. So actually, I hardly have any place to sit because there are so many stones around. I can show you. This is another very powerful citrine.
Beautiful.
So again, citrine is a power stone, and the clearer the citrine is, the stronger its energetics are. So again, citrine is all about solar plexus. It's all about core power and strength to stand in our truth, and this is what we need. And then, of course, I've got various of them here, but just around me here, this is amethyst.
Yeah,
Very
beautiful.
good to calm down your mind, for the central nervous system, to help clearing any mental clutter. Amethyst, but then please, I can't stop without, actually I've got this as well, which is quite fascinating. This a piece of uncut ruby.
Oh, wow. This is
So
different. I never seen this before.
it's uncut. It's an uncut piece of ruby. So if I ever have the finances, I'm going to get these pieces and get them all cut and shaped properly. Where was I? Now, we can't stop our conversation today without talking about these beauties.
This is
This
from
is,
different galaxy, right? This is from different planet.
yes, this is basically a meteoroid that has been coming from Jupiter. This is Shungite. And anybody, please really do yourself a favor who listens to this. Do a little bit of research. Duck. I don't Google anymore. I duck. DuckDuckGo Shungite. Shungite is, this stone has been my savior throughout the last couple of years. It has given me the groundedness that is required to stay firmly in my physical body, but at the same time, because it's called the gold of the earth, the black gold of the earth, so it shines light into the darkest corner of your being. So when I sit in meditation, I ask Shungite to bring to the surface, what is it that I don't see, that I need to see for me to shift feelings, emotions, patterns. It is also very good for protection, EMF protection. There's so much research. I'm just composing an article. I'm working on an article on Shungite, which will be out in the next couple of weeks. So there are so many benefits of Shungite. And you know what? The funny bit was, when I first introduced myself to Shungite, and I'm wearing also a Shungite necklace underneath for protection, and I've got Shungite always under my pillow at night, so I don't have any of those energies come in that I don't want, and I feel it if I don't wear it. Interesting is, when I first came across Shungite, I had a visitor, basically the spirit of Shungite, which is Among Shungin, coming through. And it's a very strong, masculine being. And each time when the energy comes through, I feel like I'm 4 times the size that I am now. And it's very like grounding and extremely hilarious and funny. this stone really brings you in touch with your inner child. And this is why I like it very much. And I wouldn't, I can't recommend it enough. I've also got Shungite everywhere. I've got Shungite in my water.
Wow.
Because it cleanses the water and boosts your immune system.
Mhm.
So it alkalines the body, alkalines the water, so it flushes out toxins. I mean, we can go on for ages. I've got this piece as well, which is very rare. This is an Himalayan quartz crystal. And then I have got one of my favorite, or I shouldn't say this because they get
Tomaz,
upset.
have you been to Himalaya?
Not up to the Himalayan mountains, no.
So can I just add on this, because I had last year with Elena Danan, who was my previous guest. She is in connection with Torhan. It's from the Galactic Federation, and when I had this like literally privilege to ask the question of him, that being, if there is any place on earth that represents them, that civilization. And he said it used to be in the ancient mountains of Himalaya, but it's no longer there. So like when you said this Himalaya, I'm like, wow, there is an energy in this stone.
Yes. I have been to Varanasi, which is basically the lower end of the Ganges, and which is the beginning of the Himalayan, like which basically leads up all the way to the Himalayan mountains, which was an incredible experience. Rishikesh is how far as I have got when it comes to go in
Rishikesh. So I remember Rishikesh is Muji, right? Muji is there in Rishikesh.
In the north of India, at the foothills of the Himalayan, yes, but not
Wow.
all.
Anyway, sorry to sidetrack. Sorry.
No, we should go. Let's go to the Himalayan mountains. Let's go and explore India. The last bit.
Yeah, I was thinking about India. I'm like, can I go to India? But India is also in this caca situation right now.
This is a piece of a dragon egg. So, which basically has been formed for millions of years. And when you shine a light on it, it has got this very fluorescent kind of radiation. And I work with it when I work with the dragon energy. So yeah, some of the stones are much more well known. Of course, there is rose quartz. I've just got a small piece here. My big one is in the other room. The heart shape. This is all for the heart. Am I frozen again?
Okay, I don't know what just happened. Are you back?
Yes, I lost you for a moment. I lost you for the moment.
The dragon egg, something happened with the dragon egg. You were showing it and then you froze. And I'm like, am I recording? Am I not? So, okay, I don't know what it is. This dragon egg has some kind of power.
Definitely it has.
So what did you say, Tomaz, about this dragon egg? Because I don't even know exactly what kind of energy this has. What does it do?
It
Maybe
really,
don't show again.
it really basically again is extremely grounding, but also has the energy of transformation. So if you want to shift, if you want to transform, and I use it in my healing sessions when I work with the dragon energies.
Okay.
So I take the stone, I work with the stone, I ask for the dragon energy to come in to just really clear what needs to be cleared. It's like quite fiery, quite hot, quite heating energy.
Yes.
To just clear on an emotional level, but also on an energetic level.
I want to ask you one more thing in regard of this. My birthstone is onyx. That's what they say.
Onyx. Yeah.
So can you tell me about that black onyx? What is really the representation of the energy? if you
It's amazing because that it is your birthstone, because from an Ayurvedic understanding, you are primarily, from what I assess, what I can see, a Vata Pitta constitution. So like you're very creative in your thinking and your mind changes very quickly, and you can take on board various, you are multitasking, you can multitask if you want. And it's like, it is a blessing, but it can also be very challenging to stay grounded and to stay centered. So your birthstone is what gives you the anchor, but it also a blood cleanser to cleanse the blood. That's what I wanted to say. So
wow,
anything
okay.
with menstrual disorders or disturbances in the female reproductive tract, that's a very good stone to use, black onyx. I love it because it's amazing energy.
I just want to say, you know, how glad I am we actually talk about those things today, because it's so practical information, but it's so highly energetical power that's behind it. But you can get those herbs and you can have those stones, and they don't have to be as massive like a book, but just even a little, right? And it already gives you certain frequency and energy. And don't you think sometimes that people can have all of this, and if they just don't believe in it, it's not going to work anyway?
No, and I tell you my own experience, it was quite funny. I had crystals around for ages. I always felt drawn to them. Actually, I've got a crystal therapy unit, which works with precious gemstones, diamond, ruby, emerald, and so on. I always had a fascination for crystals, but it was during 2020 where I really felt like I need to communicate to them. Crystals want to be communicated to. You need to speak to them. You need to ask them, invite them, and invite their energy to help you pull through and reveal the message to you. And every crystal has got its own spirit, has got its own energetic spirit. And ask for that question, for that energy to come in. Of course, protect yourself, and it's good to cleanse the stones before you actually use them. So yeah, I mean, I love my crystals, and it has taken me a long time to appreciate its power, really. It was only because I started to talk. It was quite funny. I've got a few big chunks and then I will be quiet. I have two big amethysts, and in my flat in London, I had them all in front of my fireplace. And one day I was sitting in meditation and I heard this voice in my head. I thought, am I going to go all Lala or what? And one of them said, I'm the queen. I don't want to be mixed and mingled around all the other stones. I said, what? I just looked around. I thought, what's going on? So basically, one of the amethysts demanded to be put up higher. So I took her away from the crowd, placed her in the corner on a little stool. So basically, it helped with radiating the energy and feeding the energy to the rest of the.
Okay, so Tomaz, this is like mind-blowing. So the amethyst actually had ego.
It had. It spoke to me. And I had another experience with another crystal. I've got just a small piece here.
Do you have this queen with you? You brought her with you?
I've got it. I will show it to you. It's beautiful.
Okay.
This is a clear quartz crystal.
I love this one. Yeah.
And
beautiful.
That quartz crystal, I've got another exemplar in the kitchen downstairs. It said, I don't want to be put into a cluster, because I had them all the quartz crystals together. And I learned when you place clear quartz crystal into the corners of your room or your house, it amplifies the energy. So basically, whatever energy you want to amplify, put the quartz crystals around it. Let's say you want to strengthen the amethyst or the lapis lazuli. So you spread it around in space.
It's like a booster, like natural booster.
A natural booster. And nobody told me this. It was like they started talking to me, and that is, I'm not joking. I'm serious.
So no, I know you're not joking, but you know what I want to ask you, when you were talking about this last crystal, that I would actually put it, you know what I saw? I would put it on the window and the light would be shining through this. I don't know why I saw it. Like, I wouldn't hide it in the corner. I would put it literally next to the window glass.
Okay, so let me just move. I will just move, if that's okay. I will show you.
Yes, of course.
Okay. I'm just gonna.
This is like University of Crystals today.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
You can see the window.
Look at this view. Tomaz, can you show us the view? This is just, it's like food for my soul right now. Beautiful. Thank you.
You can see the big one, which is a purite.
Okay.
Which is for wealth and abundance. And there's a Celestine, the blue one, which is the divine feminine energy, the energy of the Holy Mother. Can you see it?
Yes, beautiful. Has like a shade of blue there. Yes, like blue inside.
And this is
beautiful.
The queen. This is the queen, the amethyst.
Wow, that's the queen. Beautiful. So Tomaz, before we end this conversation, I actually want to ask you a very practical question with those stones. How often you clean them to clean the energy, and how you do it? Is it water with salt, you spray it? Practically, how you clean them?
Okay, that's another big topic. Basically, amethyst and the shungite doesn't need to be cleared, because from what I know is they are naturally transforming the energies. However, the other crystals, personally, I know there are different theories. Some say that you clear them in the moon, when full moon, and then you place them in the sun. I stopped working for obvious reasons with the energy of the full moon. We're not going to go there. So I take the crystals and I put them into sunlight.
Okay, so you don't use like water and salt, any of that?
The big chunks I put into sunlight. My small pieces I put into salt water.
Okay.
And leave them in the sun and then dry them out. I work with the sun energy rather than utilizing the moon to cleanse the
Got it.
You know.
And
why.
how often you do this?
How often? It's again a funny thing. They speak to me. They say, okay, it's time. I need to be charged, or I need to be cleansed. So because I've got such a huge collection, there's always one stone that is somewhere cleaning. But I would suggest, if you do work with the stones regularly, at least once or twice a month, do some cleaning stones.
Okay. Thank you, Tomaz. Today was so brilliant, so much information and knowledge. I learned a lot today from you. So thank you so much for joining me again. Tell me, when people want to connect with you, they should just go on your website. You have YouTube channel too. Are you going to post more on your YouTube?
Yes, I will be more active on YouTube. I'm just so excited to share that I've got a free ebook that they can download, where I talk about the crystals. I talk about essential oils and how they are linked to the elemental bodies. And there's an introduction into Ayurveda. So I will send you the link for the free ebook. And my main channels are, of course, there's the website, but my main channels are basically, as you know, Instagram and TikTok. So these are the two. I will send you the links in an email if that's okay.
Please. You know what else I want to ask you? If someone wants to, for example, like my case with my digestion, if someone wants to contact you to help that person with their digestion or energy levels, I know that you can do this too, like over the phone, right? You connect or Zoom.
Yes, I do Zoom consultations, and I offer a 15-minute free Zoom consultation to sort of assess the situation, and then we can book a proper consultation if people feel like they could benefit from my support and help. So
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tomaz. Thank you. Our talk number 3 today. That's a good number too.
it's an amazing number. Number 3 is the energy of Jupiter. Jupiter is teaching, actually is all knowledge. Isn't that funny? Jupiter is about teaching, teacher, knowledge, wisdom. Interesting. Number 3.
Thank you for joining me, because the viewers don't know, I actually reached out to Tomaz yesterday. It was very spontaneous of me because we had this schedule last year. But again, I think this was much better timing for my energy too. And
Yes.
Tomaz just like, yeah, let's do it. So I'm so glad you were able to come on today and have this chat, and we will continue. And I feel like within a few months, I actually will be in England. So maybe we meet like in flesh. And
No, definitely you come here and then we do some conversation. We go to the forest. I'll take you where I do my sacred mapacho and cacao ceremonies. So I'll take you to the forest, and we'll have a chat there.
We're going to talk to the forest spirits.
Yes. I will show you my tree.
Yes, I cannot wait. I'm so, actually, I went on YouTube and I searched for the travel videos of the area where you live, and it has so much charm. Like this old English ancestral energy. And I was like, wow, how gorgeous this place is. How gorgeous. So I cannot wait. I think this is what's going to happen this year for me. I'm going to move to Europe for some time and we go from there. But that's another story. Everyone, please check out Tomaz's website, his Instagram. All the links will be down below. And if you enjoy our conversation, I will have more talks like this. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Tomaz. And I see you next time, everyone.
Thank you, Anya. Thank you so much.